Hello, I'm Johan Sanneblad and I'm the author of Notebook Navigator, the plugin for Obsidian. In this video, I wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of all the new features and changes in Notebook Navigator 2.1, which turned out to be a quite massive release. So let's dig right in. The first thing you will notice is that the user interface has been improved quite a lot. The colors are more muted and it should be much easier to read what's on the screen. And this is specifically noticeable if you're working in dark mode like this. The text is much easier to read and it's easier to find the important things in your notes based on all the other metadata information in the list. Also, folder notes have been reworked. Previously, when you added a folder note to a folder, the text turned bold with underline. Now we just show a discrete icon and it shows underline on hover like this. I know many of you have folder notes for all your notes in the vault, and this should make it much more easier and pleasing on the eye to work with folder notes across all your vault. We have also in the bottom left corner a new widget, a calendar widget. Notebook Navigator is all about finding your files in the most efficient way possible. And the Obsidian has a core plugin called Daily Notes, which allows you to quickly write a daily note for each day. And this is a very easy way for you to find your daily notes and work with them. So if I go into settings and I go to navigation pane in Notebook Navigator and I scroll down, you see the calendar options. Of course, if you don't want it, you can just disable it. You can pick the locale if you have a different locale than the display language. You can choose how many weeks to show in the calendar. And you can also disable the highlight of today's date if you don't want that, or show week numbers. Personally, I like the red dot here because it's like a constant reminder for me to not forget to write a daily note for today. What's cool about this integration with the calendar and daily notes in Notebook Navigator is that we have this function called feature images. So if I create a daily note for today and I just add an image like this, let's pick one like that, you will see that this image is set as a feature image for the note, but it's also set as a feature image for the calendar entry like that. This makes it so easy to find notes, daily notes in your calendar, what happened on what date. So if I click on another date like that, and I then add another note, image like that, you will see that the image is updated instantly. And I can go and switch between these notes by just clicking the title, the date here in the calendar. Super handy. For now, you cannot click on the week numbers or month or year like that, but let's start with that and give me feedback. Let me know what you think we should add. I don't want to put this, turn this into a complete journal plugin, but I want it as an easy way to just enter and find your daily notes for the week. So let's just quickly go back and make it 1 week because this is my preferred way of using it. So let's come back to Notebook Navigator 2.1. We have the third big feature is that you can now show the word count or custom properties for all files. And this is a big new feature. Let me show you. You go into settings, notes, and you scroll down to custom property. This means that for each file, you can now show a property or word count. So in this case, let's enable the word count feature and close settings. You will now see for each note the number of words in this note. And the cool thing here is that this word counter exactly matches what you see in Obsidian. So you can click any note like this and the figure matches 100% the word counter you see in Obsidian. I know there are a few other word counting plugins out there, but they have their own ways of counting words. This implementation is exactly 100% matching the way Obsidian count words. So the figure you see in the editor is what you will see in the list pane. Also, these word counts are cached in the database, so scrolling through the list is, as usual, super quick, and all the word counts are just stored in the database locally. Very handy. The other thing you can show in the notes is a custom property or custom properties even. So let's switch this over to type to front matter property. And let's say we have a property called title and we have a property called subheading. Then we go into this note and we enable source mode, and we add some properties, and we call title, my title, and we add subheading, a subheading, like that. Now you can see in the list pane that these properties are shown for the file in the list pane like this. This means you can show any number of properties for all your files in the list pane. Super handy. So what do you do if you wanted these properties to appear in different colors? Well, you can go into settings, scroll down to the custom property again, and you can then add two new fields, for example, title color or subcolor, like that. We close it, and we then add new properties, title color, and we put that to red, and we have subcolor and put that one to green. Now you can see that the custom properties have the colors red and green, and this is really handy. It's file over app. Everything of your data is saved in the files, and this is also very handy when you're working with bases and so on. You will instantly see all your properties in the list. So if you're working a lot with properties, give this one a good try. Please let me know if there's some things we should change, if there's some things that you feel that should behave and work differently, and post a feature request on the GitHub, and we'll work with it from there. Let's disable the source mode. So that was the word count of custom properties. Also, even better is that you can actually override this per folder. Remember now that we have picked to show custom property. Let's say for this folder, I want to show a word count. Here I have overridden this behavior. So in this folder, I will always show the word count. So I can disable it to be default. Then we show the property. I can say none, or I can pick word count. So for every folder, you can choose to show the word count, the property, or none. And this is a very expandable architecture right now. The entire metadata pipeline was rewritten from the ground up to be more flexible. So if there are any other properties you feel we should have here, let me know, and we can add them very easily to this new architecture. It's very modular and scalable. Let's go back here. So what do we more have? Clicking on a note in single pane mode no longer switches to list pane. And this is actually a big one. I know many of you don't have room to work with dual panes like this, and you instead work in single pane like this. And previously, when you clicked on a file in the navigation pane here, it switched over to the list pane. And this was okay in the beginning of Notebook Navigator, but now when there are so many things you can click on, for example, you click on this note, or you can click on that note, maybe you click on this calendar item, you don't want to switch focus away from the navigation pane to the list pane. So this has changed. So now you can click on notes in the navigation pane, or the shortcuts or recent files like that, and it will no longer automatically switch over to the list pane. And this is really big if you're used to working with the single pane mode. Single pane mode just got so much easier to use, in my opinion. Also, we have two new menu commands, navigate to folder and navigate to tags. I know many of you have said that you have thousands of tags and it's difficult to find them. Now you can right-click the tags folder here and pick navigate to tag and just enter something and go to that folder automatically. You can also right-click the top vault folder like that and choose navigate to folder, and it's the same function. You get this fuzzy dialog. This is the same thing as going to the Obsidian command prompt like this and choose navigate to tag or folder. But it's just an easier way to use them and discover them by right-clicking on the root tags or root vault folder like that. Also, for some notes, maybe you don't want to show a feature image for some notes. You can then hide the feature image for some notes. For example, in this case, this note, I don't want to show the feature image for that note. What I do is I go into source mode, I add a property, hide feature, like that. And you can see it's hidden immediately. The setting is, if you go to settings, it's in notes, you scroll down to feature image, and you can then pick which properties you should exclude from the feature image. You can change it to anything, like we put it just to hide instead, maybe like that. Now you can see it's here shown again. We change the property and the feature image is removed like that. Very handy. You can now also hide files with certain tags. So this is really handy if you want to quickly hide tags, hide specific files. So what you do is to go into settings again, like this, go into general and choose hide notes with tags, and I have already entered a tag here called hidden. And if you then take a note like this one and assign it to hidden, like that, the note is hidden immediately. If you want to show it again, show hidden files, you see the tag here hidden automatically. And if you want to hide another note with this tag, just add tag hidden, it's hidden automatically like that. Also, very handy way just to get your vault organized in a simple way. Some of you contact me and say that you have folder notes and you always want to open them in a new tab, and it's problematic just middle clicking and so on. You can middle click, of course, the folder note to open them in a new tag, but you always wanted to do that. Now you can do that by going to settings, folders and tags, go into folder notes, and just choose open folder note in new tab, which always does that. And finally, the last feature I want to go through is that you can now reset all settings. So assuming you have messed around with all the settings here and it become a mess and you don't really feel comfortable with the current settings, you can go to the advanced tab and click on reset all settings, which will restore all settings to the default. Okay, that was it from Notebook Navigator 2.1. Please give it a roll, see how you like the new calendar, see how you like the word counter, see how you like the custom properties. Let me know if you like it, and if you have any kind of feedback or feature suggestions, post it on the GitHub. I read everything, I comment everything, and I fix the things that makes the product better while not bloating it with features that feel making it unfriendly to use. I want to keep it lean, fast, expandable, and a platform which we can grow on for years or decades to come. Thank you.